Hello, SEAL community. My name's the Dragon Rider. I'm going to be hosting today, and I'm going to be introducing our two casters as well. And so, just to get us started, we have on Colorcaster Alpha Y 123. How's it going, buddy?
It's all right. It's been a while, but we're gonna have a fun cast today.
And we also have on Play by Play a new caster to SEAL here, J Tang. How are you feeling, buddy? How's it going?
I'm really excited. I'm gonna hopefully have a good showing for my first cast, and it's gonna be a good time.
Awesome, guys. I wish you the best of luck. I'll be here in the background. I'm going to be transitioning over to our first match of the day, which is Imagine Tempest versus Imagine Shadows in our Noxian division, which is roughly around gold elo for anyone who is wondering. And I will transition over to our picks and bans now. So take it away, boys.
Yep, thank you very much.
So let's get started by just kind of going real quick through the order of the picks. So first pick Karma. I mean, not too much to say. They're not giving away too much. Pretty cool. Followed by Caitlyn Nautilus. Oh, I forgot to go through bans. My bad.
I was looking at the ban side, and we actually see Imagine Shadow banning out 3 mid laners on their first rotation here, just to take away everything from that Veigar and just force him on that Veigar instead.
Which, I mean, is a pretty strong pick in itself, which is pretty
Yeah.
interesting. They took away the Lux, looking at the first two picks by Imagine Shadow. They banned away the Lux, so they paired it up with Nautilus instead, which I think is a pretty volatile lane anyways, so not losing too much there. You just lose out on some poke in that lane. Followed by a Jhin pickup to pair with the Karma. I personally don't really care for the Jhin being paired up with an Enchanter. I don't think it adds too much to the Jhin. I think that something like a Leona or a Thresh would have been better suited. Specifically Leona, I think. And then a Cho'Gath pick, pretty safe tank top lane, but then you get responded by Set.
Yeah, you see the Cho'Gath, you think, oh, that's a great addition to like any team. That could work out for team fighting and for split pushing, but you see the monster on the other side who basically counters everything Cho'Gath wants to do in the lane, in the team fights. It's just completely scary matchup for Cho'Gath there.
Yep, and then we continue on to the draft. We see that Imagine Tempest, very jungle focused in the second half, and Imagine Shadow split band between jungle and mid, continuing to target this mid laner. And then we see Imagine Shadow pick up their jungler in Lilia, a fairly strong jungler in the early game, kind of gets around the map. Francis does its little thing, but doesn't really do too much till level 6.
I feel like Lilia is there just to support the team, and because Set, Nautilus, and Caitlyn are all so aggressive early game, or at least they can be, Lilia is there to back them up and make sure they get their proper sleeps well, and sends the enemy back home.
Yep, and then we get the Trundle and the Veigar pick. We kind of hinted the Veigar pick earlier. Really strong pick, scales really well. Nothing too much to say about it other than, I don't know, just scales. And then Trundle is a pretty decent pick, really good duelist in the early game. Can beat out Lilia with some early invades, but I don't see that happening all too often. And, I mean, yeah, not too much else there. And then we have a Xerath pick, which I think is personally great into the Veigar, kind of zone him off the wave, never allowed him to actually kill you. And so it makes it a lot more difficult for Trundle to gank if Xerath never needs to get close to the wave. But
I mean, that much range is so important for Xerath, especially if you are against someone like Veigar, who is strong in this meta and who can blow you up if you get stunned like even one time. That's all it takes.
yeah, and it's just fairly strong to have that like poke champion in any composition. So around Xerath, I mean, so fairly strong there. But without further ado, I think we should get into the game, right?
Yeah. That'd be a good time to go.
And we are in the game. Is there anything to like? I see a Nautilus pick, so you figure maybe an invade early in this game.
Yes,
We also see some
definitely.
pings. We see some pings from the set.
There's gonna be some stuff topside. They're gonna hope to catch this Cho'Gath off, and if they don't get spotted, this is gonna be a scary situation for the Cho'Gath, as he only has the flash, but what's he gonna do when he gets hooked? He's gonna take so much damage from Caitlyn and Xerath. This should be an easy pick if he gets caught by that hook. And here we go. Nautilus walks up, Cho'Gath's not able to respond in time, and he gets rooted, and everything just gets piled onto him. That's first blood. Wait for Imagine Shadow on the mid laner.
Oh god, that's gonna be a very annoying lane for the Veigar now, and it won't set the Shogat too far behind as it happened prior to a minute, so he'll get back to lane, be perfectly fine. The set has maybe 50 gold in his pocket now. That's, I mean, a potion. That's great. But I mean, nothing too crazy other than the Xerath is going to have a very fun lane, I feel.
There is an upside to the kill being a little bit early, as Xerath does get to back for another Sapphire Crystal and make it for the minions just in time, as well as they don't know where Imagine Shadow is going to start their jungle, but they do. Imagine Shadow, on the other hand, know that Trundle has to start the red side because it's warded.
Yeah, I also just want to point out Glacial Augment on the Nautilus. It's a very common rune, but I just really like the rune. I think it's so much better than the Aftershock, especially with the amount of CC Nautilus already has. I think it's just insane. It's the E start for the set, which is always really strong. Level 1.
The Glacial Augment is not just for the person getting hooked, it's for the people behind them too, trying to help out. It's going to be pretty hard for that bot lane to avoid those hooks and get away with it.
Yep. And as we can see, this Xerath already poking out this Veigar, set winning a level 1 trade. Or level 2 trade, my bad. And some pretty standard laning here. I'm honestly surprised this Jhin, or I'm not too surprised that this Jhin Karma lane is getting
Watch out
shoved.
here though, Karma actually gets hooked and she's already half health. The heal gets forced out by the Jhin, and that's an easy play from the Nautilus on Reese. It's not over yet though, there's the level 2 power spike. Nautilus is getting his hook back soon and has to get splashed by the Jhin. Beta Lynx with no summoner spells left, only two and a half minutes into the game.
And this is exactly what I meant in draft when I said the Caitlyn Nautilus lane could be just as volatile, just in its different ways. I think you engage onto the Jhin, and there's really not much the Karma can do for the Jhin, which is why I don't really like the pairing too much.
Exactly. They're both a little squishy. So the first hook went on Karma, that's a heal forced out. The next hook aims straight for the Jhin, he has to flash that, no one to tank that for him. And this Nautilus just gets to do so much in this lane right now.
Okay, I thought that was going to be more. It's alright. And so we see the junglers, the Lilia went for a full clear, as well as the Trundle only went for a 5 camp clear, skipping out the Krugs, but he does get first rotation onto the Scuttle Crab. But we see Set roaming down. Interesting enough, but yeah, he sees the Scuttle was taken. That's all. This direct camp loves bot lane though, huh?
It's the spicy lane with a very aggressive bot lane versus a very defensive bot lane, and lots of action's been happening. With the Jhin summoners being down, we might see a gank later on, and hopefully get another kill for the bot lane there and just take out that Jhin.
One interesting thing to note, Lilia's trying to go down for this bottom crab, but it's just going, she's going to notice it's just going to have been taken by this Trundle.
Trundle's already got it, basically. Yep. There's nothing to happen there, and the bot lane is actually going to come up to support Trundle. Nautilus, however, actually gets a hook on, flashes for it, but he's not tanky enough to survive this damage. Trundle's here, but Beta Lynx is just able to pick him down without the help. Now, Macleo and Kage are both getting picked off right now. Macleo gets flashed on and just completely gets shredded by that Trundle damage. Oh my god.
Yeah, and the Trundle's feeling really happy about this. I'm sure he's just going to go Krugs to Raptors, then maybe do his reset after if he wants to be a little greedy and take those level 2 camps now. That's what I would do, but I'm also not a good jungler, so that's...
Yeah, that was just the completely boss execution from Imagine Shadow, as they commit 3 flashes for that play just to try to get an easy pick, but the Trundle was right there to block that engage, and the Nautilus was not tanky enough to survive that damage. That's 2 free kills going over to the other team now. Imagine Tempest is very happy with that.
Yeah, and also, did we miss a solo kill in the top lane?
Seems like it. The set actually starting Doran's Blade against the tier just completely runs down this Cho'Gath. Both flashes were used. I assume he just chased him down from the middle of the lane.
Yeah,
Very
Set,
aggressive pick.
yeah, Set is sitting pretty in this lane. Has a double stacked wave, maybe even triple stacked wave to catch there. Cho'Gath is so zoned off this wave. Set will take very minimal damage and just clear all that up. It's kind of a really it's just not a good spot for this Cho'Gath, and he's feeling really sad right now.
And that's why we're talking about in draft why Set just does so much, especially when he's ahead. And guess what? He's ahead now. He's got the whip compared to a single tier and a flashless Cho'Gath who can't even catch his waves now.
Yeah, it feels really sad. Honestly, the blind pick Cho'Gath, especially first rotation, when there's other tanks up, such as Sion, Orin. Okay, not much going on here, just some poke. But yeah, Sion and Orin. Cho'Gath is just so limited in what he can do. He's kind of very straightforward. Just throw Q out, throw some E's for wave clears. Just, feels really bad. That's all I can really say.
Top lane, if it's an island, the Cho'Gath's gonna suffer a little bit. He's already 20 CS down, and the Lilia's in the area. Perhaps they're gonna make a gank here. The pinks come in. There's the Sleepy Seed, and the damage is coming through. He gets pulled back in, and there's nothing he can do. Not the silence will save him. But on the bot side here, we actually got Beta Lanes taking down Reese to a very sliver margin of health. Unable to get that kill, though.
So there is just under a one, just about a 1K gold lead. I'll say it's 800, and it feels like it's such a.
Oh, watch out here, though, because Lilia actually gets caught out. The Grand Slam coming in, and it's their stun. There is the stun, and the Haymaker is able to take down that Trundle. The Xerath ult also coming into support, and that's another 2 more kills for Kill the Kiwi in the top lane.
Okay, so scratch the gold lead I was talking about. It's now almost 2K.
Yeah.
And now let's start talking about what are ways that Imagine Tempest can find a way back into this game, because it may only be a 2K gold lead, but the tempo of this game is that was close.
Yeah, that's one way they could get into the game, by just getting this Jhin ahead with those very good plays. Almost taking down that Caitlyn with that last shot there, but unable to do so. But yeah, they need a lot of help, because the only person that's died in this has been Lilia.
Yeah, and just some history of like casting these Imagine games. I just want to throw out. I remember me and Dragon Rider casted Imagine versus Imagine one year, and it was kind of funny because we would not stop with the Imagine memes. And of course, no one can hear Dragon Rider, but I'm sure he's having fun with the memories of that cast. But yeah, no, we should bring some of those back. Imagine memes are kind of funny.
Yeah, there's an Imagine rivalry happening in this game, and Imagine Shadows actually winning this one very handily in the early game.
Yeah, the set pick is proven fruitful for this top laner. Ooh, that is not close. Never mind.
The aggression is paying off. The bot lane is even, but the top lane is where everything goes haywire, as 4 kills on the set is not something you want to see, especially at 8.5 minutes in the game.
So, actually, if our host could click to see the gold difference between these top laners real quick. It's a 2,000, just 2,000 to 3,600, actually 3,700. That is 1,700 gold. That is, what is the equivalent of that? A B of sword plus a cloth armor? Maybe a control word?
That is nearly double the amount of gold that Cho'Gath has right now. Wetley is going to have a tough time getting back into this game. He only has boots and a cloth armor. He's just barely surviving under the tower. And look at the top side of that jungle. Seth's just sitting in it. He's able to take the blue buff. Trundle has no idea that this is going to go down. And who knows what might happen if he walks into the wrong bush here.
Gonna collapse on him because he's going to be seen by this Trundle.
Yep. Spotted out by Obil. But he's actually going to engage onto him. The damage coming out. The Haymaker doing so much damage. And he flashes. He still has that ultimate here. Showstopper able to take the kill, and easy pickings for Kill the Kiwi. Now he's caught out by the Veigar, but it's the Veigar who's actually caught out. The barrier is used, but it's not enough because that Conqueror damage is so huge on that set right now. The action's not over yet, though. The flashes come through. Beta Lynx is able to get out of that, but the Karma is not. Flashes out. Is it enough damage to take the kill? Yes. That ace in the hole comes out, but Beta Lynx trades one back, and that's a 1-for-1 in the bot lane. A scary situation salvaged by that Jhin damage.
That was very interesting. I thought that could have went a lot better, but honestly, at this point, Imagine Shadows is sitting pretty with a 6-0-1 set in the top lane. I'm kind of surprised the farm lead isn't pushed further than what it is, but I mean, hey, that's just me picking at straws here. This set is playing quite a perfect game at the moment.
I feel like right now Set's not exactly going for the farm lead. He's trying to disrupt the enemy team, but actually we're making a play on mid here. Veigar gets hit by the seed, but there is no ult available for the Lilia. Cannot put that Veigar to sleep. He instead flashes away from that.
very interesting buy that I'm seeing is the Boots of Swiftness from the set. That is not very common at all.
Yeah.
Kind of interested behind what's the reasoning behind that.
I feel like one possible thing is because Cho'Gath has those slows on the autos, he wants to keep pressuring this Cho'Gath and hopefully catching up to him in those extended fights alongside the pillar slow, which is actually huger than most people realize.
True. Yeah, no, I actually hadn't really thought about that, but I mean, I feel like you're just losing so many stats whenever you don't go one of the like Merc Treads, or I almost called them Ninja Tabbies. They're plated steel caps. Yeah, that's what they're called now.
Speaking of the pillar, Obil gets a really nice one on Hyper Expert here, who has to burn his flash but does not take any damage, and leaves Macleo to solo the Rift Herald with no contest.
Feel for this Cho'Gath right now. Just like you just can't walk up to the wave. It's so sad.
That's 3 towers actually getting pushed in right now. That's a lot of plate money coming in for Imagine Shadow. Imagine Tempest is getting to lane now, but the damage has already been done, and there's going to be a Rift Herald available for Imagine Shadow soon.
That's something that should never be let. Like no one should ever let that happen. You can't let a team push all 3 towers at the same time. I mean, great job on Imagine Shadows for having waves synced at the same time, but that's just kind of mind-boggling.
Yeah, but how do you stop that from happening? I'll continue that thought in a second, as Obil is actually getting taken down here, dragged back in with a showstopper, and the Lilia damage is just enough to take him down. Veigar is not able to do enough damage to stop any of that from happening. Set is running the show by himself. Well, along with Lilia.
Yeah. Lilia's just been able to quietly farm away. Actually, almost has the highest CS count on the team, just down by 1. Which is, yeah. I mean, as I mentioned in draft, so like she's just gonna kind of prance around, farm up, and you know, gank post 6. So she got a few early ganks off that were quite impressive.
So this is what we were talking about when we were talking about the sets items. And his farm, he's actually been giving up some of his waves, actually, just to disrupt this Trundle, to take his camps, and just to be a complete menace in the top side. That might also be another reason why he got the Swifties, just to be more utility focused on this set. Because he's already strong enough in lane. He's going to disrupt the rest of the map, including the jungle. But there is actually a play being made. The sleep comes in, but the seed does not. Rift Herald takes the tower, and Veigar is actually just stepping a little too far now. Both barriers being used, but they get away. Even now, there's actually a play bot side too, as the Karma's not there to help out. Xerath actually gets taken down by the Trundle in the meantime. He's there just in time to save the play. But that mid tower falls, and the Jhin falls as well. That's just more damage going on to these towers right now, and Imagine Shadow will happily trade their Xerath for that much gold.
Jeez. Alright, so, I mean, I will say, if you're the Jhin right now, you're kind of molding, because you're actually not playing a bad game into a pretty volatile matchup, and, you know, it's, I mean, Jhin is the one bright spot and the only way I see back into the game for Imagine Tempest. And then, as we noted earlier in draft, Xerath was just going to kind of be able to poke out the Veigar from doing anything. And of course, Veigar will scale as they get the dragon, as we see. But, yeah, he's just been able to poke the Veigar out of catching waves. And of course, Veigar will scale at some point. But the question is, at this point, will they get to a point where Veigar or anyone on their team really will be useful other than Jhin?
Exactly. I was about to say something like, oh, Jhin is kind of playing a little weak side right now. He's not getting many resources on the map, but come to think of it, is anyone really getting resources on Imagine Tempest's side? We've got the set in the top side, destroying this Cho'Gath, making sure he can't do a single thing outside of farming under his tower, and also taking down the Trundle's top side entirely. Sometimes even taking the wolves as well, making sure there's nothing that the Trundle can farm. The mid lane is not going very well for Senpai Omega, unfortunately. He is stacking, but it's not good enough to save this game. And clearly the bot side has not had enough help to dissuade this hyper-aggressive Caitlyn and not.
And the
Hold that thought at right now, because the tower actually gets taken down by the set. Wetley's trying his best to dress her up, but the showstopper is able to go straight over those spikes right there. Kill the Kiwi is now legendary as he gets caught in another fight against Obil. The stun comes through, but that's so much tankiness and the Trundle stealing stats right now. Kill the Kiwi flashes away, another flash to follow, and The set is finally shut down by Obil on the Trundle.
I honestly thought Seth was gonna win that 1v1, and then I saw his life slowly draining, and I was just like, oh,
Yeah.
not that strong yet. But he has 2 completed items at 15 minutes.
Oh, Beta Link's having to Gale Force and Flash out. He is knocked up, but the only one drowsy right now is that Karma. Private Agent Zero taking a lot of damage. Does not go down to the ace in the hole. They're barely able to survive, but that is 2 more summoners taken down on Jin, and their supports completely in disarray as she has no HP left. This tower is going to fall as well.
Yeah, this is not looking great for well, Imagine. We'll put it that way.
Which Imagine? Because it's going great for one of them.
Yeah. It's going. I mean, as an org, you're very conflicted right now. I will say.
Imagine Shadows having the time of their lives. Imagine Tempest, maybe not so much, but we'll focus on the positive sides here because there's so much pressure on this bot side right now. But will this backfire? They're trying to drive Beta Links right now. Is able to get the root down. The Gale Force comes in and that's damage, but they're behind the enemy tower. Reese actually gets an aggressive hook there, but MacLeod is caught out between the Vanguard and the Trundle, goes down easily, and Kage and Reese have nowhere to go. Is this enough kills? Kage going with an aggressive flash here is not able to pick out Private Agent Zero, and Reese has nowhere to go. He falls as well. 3 more kills for Imagine Tempest.
Trundle is quietly getting scary strong, and will be the only thing that will probably be able to stand up to Set somewhat due to the ulti.
Yeah.
So we were talking about Jin being the one way back into this game, but this Trundle collecting these bounties, he's gotten over 1,000 gold in bounties alone. Might be able to, do some things as this game progresses.
I would say the Trundle is the only aggressive part of Imagine Tempest's side, and it is working out in spades because he's able to get so many flashes with that pillar and counteract so many plays, just making sure they don't bleed out this game entirely, even though he's not getting as much resources as he wants. Even though sometimes Lilia is able to stop him, he is still able to stand his own, and right now, there might be a fight between him and Kill the Kiwi. There's another one going on, but Kill the Kiwi is getting so much damage, 802 true damage from that Haymaker. Right now, he's able to get that kill on Obil, but so much damage is coming through from the Xerath as well to back up this set. The cavalry is here, and Senpai Omega has none of his own, goes down to that artillery barrage.
Yeah, Trundle, see, that's what makes me upset about Trundle as a champion. He's down 2 levels versus a set. I believe he had double buff. No, he didn't. He got double buffs from him. But he's 1v1ing a set 2 levels down and was pretty close if he didn't get an 800 true damage W. That's insane as they take the Rift Herald prior to Baron.
Yep. You can't do much with plated steel caps if all you take is true damage. That did basically half his health bar. You would think that Kill the Kiwi was the one getting caught out there in the enemy jungle, but unfortunately for the Trundle, that's a max rage Haymaker to the face.
Yeah, that's there's not much to say there. It was just, Set doing Set things. 200 years, right?
Right now, he's doing a lot of years of damage to this Cho'Gath right now, as the rest of his team will try to secure this 3rd dragon. There is a contest here, as the Karma actually takes quite a bit of chunk from that huge blast from Xerath. Plays made onto the Lilia right now, who's actually in a bad spot. MacLeod does go down, but Senpai Omega is going to go down too. So much damage onto Obil, who also gets shut down, and Kill the Kiwi is here just to make sure that Private Agent Zero falls to that. And that's 3 more kills in exchange for the jungler, and they're still able to take that dragon. There's nothing Beta Lynx can do. 1 more dragon from Soul Point.
I mean, it's looking like a Baron window fairly soon. I mean, off reset, they're on Soul Point. Maybe even trade a Soul Point for a Baron, just end the game with that. It's looking really... There's a lot of options for many different things in this game for Imagine Shadow. They have so many different ways to find a win. And it's just looking at how can Imagine Tempest get back to this game, and it's probably going to be playing around that objective, playing around the dragons mainly. I mean, if they take a Baron, more gold influx into you guys, you get waves crashing in the base and just kind of farm up. But you start to worry, can your composition even hold up to Imagine Shadow's set in the late game versus a Cho'Gath who's building tank?
Yep, this Cho'Gath has not been showing up as much as he probably would like to. His Fimble Winter is not finished. All he has is that Frostfire Gauntlet, and he is not able to stand up to Set in these fights. There is a Baron attempt going on now, and I don't think there is any contest to be even considered by Imagine Tempest, as Imagine Shadow is just so strong right now. 10,000 gold ahead, 3 entire dragons, and so many towers. That is just a huge extra power spike as they grab the Baron as well.
Yeah, and you saw the question mark pings as they got around 3,000, so obviously no contest there. They didn't even know they were on it for a large portion of that Baron take. So great take by Imagine Shadows. They caught them on a reset, and well, yeah, it's just looking like maybe this could be the final push. But let's see if there's some miraculous fight that Imagine Tempest can find.
There is still hope for Imagine Tempest. The Jhin has only died twice this game. He's able to salvage enough CS to even get a lead over this Caitlyn, and Veigar has been quietly farming through all the chaos. Yes, he has 4 deaths. Yes, he might not be doing as much as he wanted to recently, but now is his time to shine. He has the Ludens. He has a really strong Trundle on his side. Maybe they can take a pick here.
Yeah, Trundle being the leading gold person on the team. Even Jhin falls behind by 1,600 gold or 1,700 gold to the Trundle, and of course the Set is the most rich person in this game, being 2,000 gold ahead of the most fed person on the side of Imagine Tempest.
Look at this Veigar right now. He was trying to make an aggressive pick by himself, but he gets spotted by a ward. They are not able to catch him though. He's just a little too fast, but he is forced to back off, and there's now pressure on the bot side. Look at this split. It's so beautiful. What is Cho'Gath supposed to do against this Set right now? That tower is fallen. He's probably going to push an inhibitor tower as well. And maybe Cho'Gath just straight up dies here. Killing Kiwi, doing so much damage, not even using his ultimate to take down that Cho'Gath.
Yeah, he built Blade of the Ruined King, so it feels really bad to be Cho'Gath. Cho'Gath just now he just can't even live under tower. It's just quite a depressing day to be a monster.
Imagine Tempest grasping for straws now. Another Rift Herald charge means this tower falls, as well as the top side. There is a hook going on from Risi. Will it lead to anything? The cage is out, but Lilia lands a 4-man sleep, setting the enemy and their hopes also asleep right now as the Veigar falls. Obil on the Trundle, not able to get away, gets cut down by the Gale Force, and here comes the Set from behind. Private Agent Zero gets stunned up and falls as well. The Cho'Gath wetly doing his work, eats someone for the first time, but is not enough to eat anyone else because there is just so much damage coming through. Beta Lynx also able to get hooked now, not able to take down Kage's lucky pick, as Imagine Shadow looking extremely strong in this first game against Imagine Tempest, taking the first in a clean, decisive victory.
I just want to point out that was a really smart way to end the game. Have both side lanes, synced waves, have the Set split push alone versus the Cho'Gath. You have 4-man bot. You know you're stronger in your 4v4 is stronger than theirs. That was just an immaculate way to end the game.
Yeah, because what can you do? I mean, who are you really gonna send to like stop that setup there? Kill the Kiwi is incredibly strong. The Cho'Gath stands no chance. The Trundle is just gonna push out, and basically once they decided, hey, we can just do a 1-4 split, the game was basically over by then.
Yeah. So before we get into our next game, let's give our MVPs and aces. So who do you think was the MVP for Imagine Shadow? Who do you think the ace was for Imagine Tempest?
Imagine Shadow, I don't think there's a complete contest at all. I mean, everyone on that team played amazingly well, superb and clean to their win condition, but the real star of the game, that game, was Kill the Kiwi on this Set, able to do so much damage, able to get a solo kill early on the Cho'Gath, and transition that and snowball that into just a complete dominance over the top side jungle as well, shutting down this Trundle. Even though Trundle got a lot of kills, he was not able to participate in the game as much as he should have.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think they can go to nobody else but the Set. And I'll take the side of naming the ace. I think there's 2 people that could be the ace, but I'm going to myself give it to the Trundle. Of course, you could say someone else. But I think the Trundle was able to get a few picks off as the game progressed, got a few shutdowns, but of course wasn't able to transition that into much as the team did fall so far behind, and Imagine Shadows was just pushing their advantage constantly, and it was just suffocating Imagine Tempest out of this game. But I could tell Trundle, and I'll give Jhin his credit, Jhin laned very well. And I mean, that's my ace goes to Trundle, though.
Yep, Trundle and Jin both were amazing opponents against Imagine Shadow this time, but they weren't given resources and weren't given opportunities to actually excel and get a lead in these games. So hopefully in the next game they were able to make something happen as well.
Hello, Seal fans. We are back for game 2 between Imagine Tempest versus Imagine Shadow. First game, Imagine Shadow taking the lead. Really just powerful top lane. Excited to see what we have for our next game. Again, we have our casters Alpha Y and J Tang. Without further ado, I'm going to transition us over into our picks and bans, and you guys can take it away.
All right, so let's start with the bans. Let's not forget that this time. So, looking at the side of Imagine Shadow, they kept it with the Imagine Shadow. They kept it with the 3 mid lane bans. So clearly, mid lane's their strong suit, it seems. And then on the side of Imagine Tempest, they changed up one ban, being the Nautilus, which kind of went on a rampage in the bot lane.
Yeah, that Nautilus is getting hooks left and right and making plays, opening up stuff for the Caitlyn and for the Lilia to take advantage of the bot side. It's no surprise that they banned that away. And also on Imagine Shadow, they actually banned out the Trundle, who was very strong that game, a very worthy opponent to the set, actually getting a kill onto him. The only death the set had was from the Trundle.
Yeah, and some key picks on the side of Imagine Shadow would be allowing the set to get through to to phase 2 is quite surprising, I will say. A Skarner pick, also not seen very much. Skarner rework, woo. Anyways, yeah, quite interesting. And a Lulu Ashe bot lane is going to be really fun. But I think the most volatile pick, other than the set, of course, since we've already seen it, but the Vex is kind of a pick that, quite popular in solo queue, but kind of fall flat. So I'm kind of interested to see how well Imagine Shadow's mid laner will pilot this Vex.
This is a completely different change in dynamics between both the teams. We got the Ashe Lulu in the bot side, which is actually a defensive option compared to their Caitlyn Nautilus from last game. We've also got the Vex, as you talked about, a very different champion to Xerath, at least in the team fights, where she has to actually go in and do some damage rather than stay behind and poke. And on the other side, we got Imagine Tempest switching up their bot lane plan, going for an aggressive Kaisa Leona comp, which basically means they swapped over their priorities on this game. And yeah, the set coming through unbanned and completely in the hands of an Imagine Shadow once again.
Yeah, and into war with Poppy, set's going to have some great options to ult, but also we have the Veigar back again, which honestly, Yordle v Yordle might have a better matchup into the Vex than the Xerath last game. But that is kind of it for the band, so without further ado, let's get into the game. Right, and we are in the game, and right before anything really gets off, I want to go through some runes real quick, see across the board if there's anything quite interesting. Veigar taking Electrocute, everything seems pretty standard, except Leona took Guardian.
Yeah,
That's very interesting. I personally think the best rune on Leona is Glacial Augment, but as you heard last game, I just love Glacial Augment, but I'd love to hear your opinions on this Guardian take as well.
I feel like the Guardian pick is more comp specific because she's actually against the Ashe and the Lulu. I guess she doesn't want to take that much poke from the stray hits of the volley and of course picks, bullets coming out. Maybe she just wants to alleviate the poke so they're full health for the next engage. But I also agree that maybe something like Aftershock or Glacial Augment would be more worthy of an augment choice, but let's see how it turns out in the bot side as they take that first Spire. It's not going to matter too much, though, as that's only for Scuttle and it doesn't happen later. But we also got a very interesting choice of augment from that Skarner, who's actually taking Phase Rush, hopefully to get that speed and get that chasing and also drag people straight into his team rather than be more of an aggressive frontline carry.
Yeah, I also like the fact that the Warwick started a control ward, though I wish he would have placed it down early somewhere. Warwick has such a healthy clear, he doesn't really need the potions. And also, Poppy taking Corrupting Pot. Pretty standard for tanks in the top lane to take Corrupting Pot nowadays, I feel. But as we... Oh, sorry.
Once again, another double bot leash in the bot lane. We've got actually a little bit of action from the top side, but Wetley's on the Poppy now. Is a little bit more safe than the Cho'Gath, I would say, against the set, but still is taking so much damage. A Conqueror fully stacked already, and that's half Wetley's health. Has to pop one of those potions already.
No, he doesn't.
Oh, I guess I saw it wrong. But here we go. There's actually some damage. Killer Kiwi doing so much damage. Wetley brought down to 100 health. And of course, there's a bot lane level 2 action coming out. Killer Kiwi actually flashes in and grabs another 1-2 punch against Wetley for another easy solo kill in game 2 as well.
Very interesting that the Poppy throughout all of that didn't use a single corrupting pot.
I believe she might have thought she bought something else, because she did start tier in that other game. Maybe she thought she didn't have like an active consumable for this game as well, but a big mistake happening and gets punished for it. The set, Killer Kiwi, knowing exactly what his limitations are, knowing exactly when he can kill that Poppy, goes for a very cheeky play for that first blood.
Yeah, and the Poppy already had to use teleport, so the set is sitting pretty in this lane as the wave is going to slowly push out in set's favor. But just looking at jungle clears real quick, the Warwick has a slight, or actually they're around the same page. I think Warwick will get to the Scuttle Crab first after clearing those Raptors, and we'll see what happens. Oh no, Skarner just completely skipped Gromp.
Yeah.
To get to.
So
Wonder if he's gonna be
skipping Gromp just to make sure he gets that Scuttle Crab. Warwick not able to do it, but there's actually some action in the mid lane. Warwick instead looking for an opportunity, but Hyper Expert is able to flash away after getting stunned. Veigar doing a lot of work right now. He has not used a potion, and he is up CS against an early game Vex with the Corrupting Potion.
Yeah, and Vex has no mana, so Vex is going to have to take this back fairly soon. Has no flash, so gonna see that jungler probably coming over fairly soon. I'd love to point out that Skarner pathing was kind of immaculate. Went for a full clear, but skipped the Gromp to go to the Scuttle first, knowing the Warwick would be heading over to the Scuttle very soon.
Yep.
Top lane might get ganked. Just looking at the map. Nope.
I think they realized, oh, Poppy knows you're here, it might be warded, so Skarner instead going a little bit deeper in to take those things away. Look, he takes away the Scuttle Crab, and now he takes away the Krugs. He just does not want this Warwick to get any sort of priority in his own jungle alongside the river.
Though he might get spotted out by the Warwick, causing the Poppy to rotate over and maybe get a kill.
I don't know. Even if Poppy rotates over, though, there is a set, and that fight would turn sour pretty quickly. So they're not able to catch that Skarner. He gets away for free, and with a couple little Krugs to take home with him. Simple little early game here, but look at this wave against the set. Unless... Okay, Warwick is coming over to break this wave and make sure he does not freeze it. That's a good play from him. Takes a little bit of damage. Some trades here. Set desperately trying to save this little freeze, but nothing of importance is going to come out for him. He has to break it with that Haymaker. He's actually doing a lot of damage to this Warwick, though. He actually gets a stun off, and that's another solo kill in a 2v1 situation. Completely disrupting this enemy's plans and getting himself a 2-0 lead. He's not stopping, though. That's a lot of punches, and Poppy's taken down to half HP. This set is a monster.
And the freeze actually wasn't broken because none of the range when minions actually went under towers. So set is sitting really pretty in this lane. 2-0, 31 CS to 7.
Yeah, putting that Warwick up there just to try to alleviate pressure for the 7 CS Poppy. It was a good idea in theory, but it did backfire completely. Warwick had no items. He just bought his Sheen, and this set does not need items to beat down that little Wolfie. A mid lane play right here. Barry is popped, but that Vex ult is used. He's going straight in for it. Does the ignite, but is not able to get any more damage onto that Veigar. Senpai Omega walking freely.
Yeah, and I mean, this is it's a fairly standard game from every other lane, but then, you know, you just have Set in the top lane, which is creating most of his gold lead, which is a 1.4k gold lead at the moment. And if we could switch over to gold real quick, I just want to see the difference in laners. And yeah, Set is literally the only one who has a gargantuan gold lead that makes up the gold lead that Imagine Shadows do have.
Look at him. He already has a bounty, and he's going for the teleport. Yes, he might not get favorable wave right now, but he does have the Skarner in the top side in case he ever wants to make a play. This Poppy is down so much CS. She has not bought an item, and it's 7 minutes into the game. She might get stunned now, taking a lot of damage. Another 1-2 punch coming out. That's half of Wetly's HP, and he has to keep watching out because that set is so fast and does so much damage so quickly that there's not much a Poppy can do once he gets close.
The set bought full armor boots as well, so the Poppy's gonna do no damage. He TP'd back to prevent.
Look at this damage though. The Grand Slam coming out. He has to flash away, but the Haymaker just barely misses. That's a Poppy flash forced out just for a single ultimate, and that gives Skarner the opportunity to invade this level 5 Warwick. Warwick getting the fear off, but the Skarner does have his own flash and ult. Bring him straight over back into the bush to make sure Kill the Kiwi gets onto his killing spree. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, there is a Leona engaged onto Kage, but there is the cleanse as well. Kage taking a lot of damage, but Leona getting another stun off, has to flash away from that one. The progression just keeps going, but did Leona bite too much off? Kaisa is able to do so much damage now, but does not opt to flash because he knows that the Lulu does have the shield for that tiny little bit of damage that would have done that action.
All I'm gonna say is biscuits are OP.
Yeah, just barely keeping him alive right there. And Kage back to normal laning stance right now, but that bot lane pressure is gonna transition over to a dragon attempt. Senpai Omega right now caught with nothing except for his flash, is not gonna use that because he's already dead to that amazing Skarner gang. Now Skarner, with all the time in the world, all the HP, is going into the jungle trying to get this dragon and hopefully get everyone else with him. Warwick is able to do the Q smite, secures the dragon, but at what cost? As Kaisa is going to get chased down by the Lulu, of all people. But Warwick is actually able to do so much damage, so much healing, that suppress coming in. Goes straight for the Lulu as well. That's a double kill on that flash. Ashe is able to take down the Kaisa, but is she able to get away? No, she is not. Completely clawed down for a triple kill from O-Bill alongside the dragon take.
In another game where the jungler is trying to claw their way back into the game.
Literally.
Just yeah, yeah, just like last game. He was piloting the Trundles slowly. Wasn't collecting bounties this game, but was trying to find his way. Not much going on here. Set's just gonna ignore the damage, which is sad.
But yeah, that entire play stemmed from the bot side, actually taking down Kage to a sliver of health, and he has to slowly heal up with the Vam Scepter. That's the only thing that kept him in that fight in general. As they went to take the dragon, Garner, yes, he was able to get a kill onto Senpai Omega, but the Vex was not able to come for the dragon fight. And O-Bill takes that opportunity, even though it looked sketchy, even though it looked rough, he was able to take the dragon, get a kill onto the Skarner very early, and also secure kills on both Ashe and Lulu, as Kill the Kiwi is able to get the flash in, but it's not enough damage with the Haymaker, not enough rage. Poppy walks away with a sliver of health, forcing out this Kill the Kiwi's flash and ultimate, not able to be used for this Warwick fight right now. Kill the Kiwi is feared and is not able to do anything. Meanwhile, there's a play in the mid lane right now, sent by Omega getting dragged out. The barrier is not able to block all that damage coming out. In the bot side as well, there is another engage from Leona. Kage with no cleanse, but is able to stop that engage with the Ashe ultimate. There's chaos everywhere and so many plays are being made. That's only a 1-for-1 for both sides though.
Yeah, you would think that bot play could have been so much more, but the Lulu, of course, having the ult to save anything from happening. Leona is going to be very happy that there was no engage there. But yeah, and I think this game is going to go to a fairly calm game state for the next few minutes.
You would say that, but there is a Skarner in this Warwick's jungle. He's able to get out though. Well, or he's going back in because he knows the Vex is near him, and he knows that he is stronger, at least utility-wise, than this Warwick, who is half health. The Vex is able to come in and burst him before he's able to get any healing done. That red side is completely on the side of Imagine Shadow right now.
Wow. Yeah, no, I mean, disregard anything I say. Over the course of these two games, Imagine Shadow has been very good at pushing their leads. And yeah, there's not much else to say. The set just gets advantages. The mid laner is really good at roaming with the jungler. And, I mean, wow. Set
I feel like it's just such a smart, like, not only in this game, but also in the draft. Oh, hold that thought for a moment. Kage gets stunned again, is able to cleanse, but also gets CC'd by the Leona's extra damage. The Beta Lynx also ults in, but there's so much shielding and healing from Reese right now. It's actually able to chunk down Leona to a sliver of HP as well. Kaisa not able to do too much damage, but here comes Obel. He has his ult ready, and it lands directly on his target. Reese left with nowhere to go, gets clawed down, chomped on, and Obel with another double kill, and some more turret plates go over to Imagine Tempest.
The 1v9 coming out of this Warwick is actually insane. This Warwick has all of his team's kills.
Yep, he's doing everything he can to make sure at least some lanes can hold their ground right now, because this Poppy's not doing so well. He can't really contest the top side because Skarner's going to be there to counteract. But here comes another play from Hyper Expert, is able to get the Ignite on. Everything lands on Senpai Omega with no barrier up. That's another solo kill. Kill Kiwi as well, trying to make a good play, but almost able to kill that Wetley. He's able to get away though, because Kill the Kiwi has no flash to follow up.
Yeah, you think that this Warwick is probably gonna, see that nice juicy bounty in the mid lane and make his way over there, as he has seemed to be the bounty collector of the past few games. So I'd like to see something happen around mid, but this Veigar once again falling quite far behind.
Yeah, unfortunately getting Veigar both games, not turning out so well so far, but who knows, he is a scaling champion, does more than Vex later on in the later portions of the game. Has not been getting lucky, but is able to keep up in CS. So we'll see how it goes. And I actually want to go back to my previous point earlier. Of course, there's another Leona ult trying to disrupt me again, but nothing happens this time. So I will go on with my point that the draft from Imagine Shadow is actually immaculate in this game, because they're actually be able to put so much pressure on the top side, funneling this set basically with a Skarner pick. Wait a second here, wait a second. The Warwick does have ult. The Leona flashes in. That's both flashes from Imagine Shadow's side. There's no way to get away. Kaisa's able to take that down with so much damage from the Void Seeker, and of course, there's nothing that Lulu can do as well. A Rift Herald is spawned mid lane, but is that too far towards her tower? Yes, it is, because the Vex is able to fall even with the flash, and now Skarner is running straight to the safety of his Spire. There's nothing they can do, and that should be another dragon for Imagine Tempest right now.
Yeah, and despite the gold lead, they're gonna get some more neutral, they're gonna get more neutral objectives. Although it's only a Cloud Drake, not gonna add too many stats. It is looking like a really good win condition for Imagine Tempest's side. Though, while the Warwick and Kai'Sa are fed, you have to wonder, will the Veigar be able to get to a point once again where he can be effective in fights, and will the Poppy reach a point where they are also effective in fights, are able to tank up whatever Ashe, Vex, and Set will want to throw as a team?
Exactly. There's so much that this Warwick can do right now, and it's only trying to make his teammates get a little bit more damage, a little bit more resources, and getting those dragons is one way to start that little snowball there. Warwick, with the Mercury Treads, able to tank out so much damage, and you can see his presence in that entire fight. Bot lane from Imagine Shadow, forced to burn double flashes, forced to use their Ashe Arrow, their polymorphs, everything. Still not able to get away from that hungry little wolf, and is able to back up his team entirely for 3 kills and a dragon.
Also, I just want to say, Set's CS this game, I know I was calling it out last game, but his CS this game is actually crazy. He's averaging, about 9 CS a minute.
It's beautiful, even though he's in the enemy jungle and everything. Here is a stun coming out, and there is the showstopper, bringing that Kai'Sa down. Heal used, flash used, and there's nowhere to go as Set uses his own and takes down both members alongside the help of his bot lane there.
Not much to say that was a beautiful teleport. The Leona was just a little bit early. I don't know if it would have done much had it been, the actual stun, but overall, just a great play by the Imagine Shadows bot lane.
And another great play happening as well as this Veigar gets completely shut out. Senpai Omega burning the flash, but is not able to get away from the speed of Skarner and the damage of Vex. That is another play made by mid right now, and there is so much going on that is good for Imagine Shadow right now. They're able to push down the bot lane, they're able to take down the mid laner right now, and Poppy, yes, she's getting some damage onto that tower, but I don't even think she's able to take it during that wave. So, Imagine Shadow reclaiming what is theirs, which is basically the enemy jungle right now, making sure that this Warwick is not able to get too far ahead, but they are also very strong. They can contest for this Gromp. And Imagine Shadow knows this. They have to back off. This Warwick is a huge presence, even though they have the set, even though they have this Skarner right now. It's still an even game.
And you were saying that the Skarner was a catalyst for this set, but the set was winning so handedly. I feel like the Skarner was more so a catalyst for getting this Vex ahead. And this Vex pick, we were talking about it in draft, has proven to be very fruitful, as it is 5-1 and is bursting the I don't know, the life out of everybody that they encounter. So
Yeah,
I mean, it's
exactly. This
crazy,
Vex,
crazy.
it was actually banned last game by their own team, but this time they're pulling it out and doing so much work against this Veigar alongside the help of the Skarner. Because as the Veigar, what can you do? Yes, you have Barrier, yes, you have Flash, but so does the enemy team, and that's a Skarner pulling you in every single time. You can see how many times has Skarner come around just to pull him in, and there's nowhere for this Veigar to go. He's not getting help from his team, he's not getting resources, he's only receiving deaths. And yes, he is above in CS, but will that matter as this game draws closer and closer to soul points? We shall see.
Yeah. And I mean, both solo laners, as they take this Rift Herald, if we go to the gold real quick, both solo laners on the side of Imagine Tempest still only have around 4,500 gold and 5,000 gold respectively, when the solo laners of Imagine Shadows have over 2,000 gold ahead of them, or just about 2,000 gold ahead of each of their opponents at minimum. And so it just makes you wonder.
That's a flash burned out right now. Wetley has to force his flash, but MacLeod uses an early ultimate just to bring him in to kill the Kiwi, who does half of War's health bar. Is it enough? Yes, it is. That true damage coming in to shut down that Warwick's healing, making sure he can't flash, cannot ult, and can only die. Senpai Omega doing a lot of damage to the Skarner right now, but that's his entire kit, only for half of his health bar. And Kaisa forcing away her own killer instinct, and Leona, that solar flare, just to get away from that scary set. Killer Kiwi just popping off once again alongside MacLeod.
Yeah, you know, I didn't even realize this, but the Lulu hasn't been a part of too much this game. But once the Lulu and Set start pairing up, it seems quite impossible for a fight to be won by the side of Imagine Tempest, just because of how strong that duo is. It's almost as strong as Set Yumi, I'd say.
Yep. That Ashe actually getting her flash forced by a solo Leona right now. Private Agent Zero actually biting off more than she can chew, walks away after flashing out herself. Unfortunately, just didn't realize that the entire team is prepping for this dragon right now, which has spawned. The Rift Herald is taken by Warwick right now. Kill the Kiwi making an aggressive first play, while the rest of his team goes for this Veigar. Is it a worthy sacrifice? Kill the Kiwi still alive, but for how much longer? The heals come out, the shields come out, but he eventually falls, despite the Lulu being there. Both junglers flashing in to make plays right now, but the Warwick is the one that comes out on top, taking down Kage basically by himself, as MacLeod has no one he can pull the enemy carries to.
Well, we'll see who secures this dragon. I'll make my point after we see this.
Yeah, this dragon itself is doing a lot of damage, but is completely getting shut down. That Warwick with a perfect smite, along with a perfect ult from Leona. The Solar Flare lands, but is there any follow-up to be had? Hyper Expert with that Fear Up is not able to get engaged on. Fortunately, they reacted a little bit too late, but they are very happy with that in general as they get the third dragon, and they're now on soul point for Hextech.
This is definitely one of the, like, maybe not the best combat Drakes, but it is one of the better Drakes when it comes to combat stats. So every Drake is, yeah. Regardless, there's a good Drake for combat stats. It's a really good way back into this game for Imagine Tempest. Although it does feel like they haven't been controlling the pace of the game, they have been able to secure the objectives all over the map. So it makes you wonder, will they surely be able to just outscale through these objectives taken as the game progresses?
Yeah, Imagine Shadow is so good at taking things away from Imagine Tempest, but Imagine Tempest making sure that whatever that's left and whatever they can salvage is salvaged appropriately alongside 3 dragons. They got 11 kills despite the crazy fed Vex and the set. They're able to pick off the set in that fight at the sacrifice of their own Veigar, and is able to completely just override that fight, even though it was an engage from the set himself.
It's honestly about Imagine Tempest figuring out how not to get caught out in side lanes by this set or Skarner. and slowly clawing their way back into this game through objectives collection.
Exactly. An amazing dragon fight from Imagine Tempest, keeping them in this game, keeping them healthy and alive. Only 4,000 gold down. I would rather have 3 dragons over 4,000 gold right now.
Yeah, I agree. And of course, most of that gold, once again, is on this set.
Oh, just wait a second. There's actually an engaged Wetley Simon kill the Kiwi against the wall, but look at that damage right now coming from the set. Unfortunately, not able to gets bitten down, but Senpai Omega also in the mid lane gets taken down, not without ulting the Lulu for himself, taking down Risi for a 1-for-1 in the mid lane, but that is a set down for the top side of the map. That's 2-for-1 in total.
And these are the plays that you look for. You know, you're going to get some losses, but 2-for-1 or 2-for-2 actually.
2-for-2. Oh, I see. Yes, because Risi also fell as well. And Beta Lynx is a little out of the fight a bit early because that dive from the Skarner, from the Vex, from the Ashe. How do you avoid that as Beta Lynx, who has no Enchantress support of their own, who has a killer instinct, yes, but was not able to use it in that fight?
Yeah, it's just it's building up to be a very crazy game as this approaches the late game. Of course, we're still in the mid game, but this next dragon fight is going to be very crucial for both teams because it's going to be, well, on the side of Imagine Tempest. Once again, I mentioned the last game. Do you want to trade the Dragon Soul for the Baron? Maybe it's a really quick way to influx gold into your team and a very good way back into the game. And do you really think you're going to give up 3 dragons after that? Probably not. So it might be a good idea to go for it. Or on the side of Imagine Shadow, maybe you just don't think Soul is going to matter against you, and you just take the Baron and try to end the game with the gold advantage you already have.
We shall see what the teams decide to sacrifice in exchange for the dragons, the barons, and the towers in 1:30. That's when that soul point is gonna matter, because if that Hextech soul gets taken, this game completely takes a flop right now. Because as it stands, both teams are basically even. They can pick off anyone. Even the set can die. So they have to play very carefully right now, especially the Poppy in the side lane knows that everyone else is in the mid lane, so she is safe. But they have very little pressure towards the dragon right now. And Imagine Tempest has to claw their way back to get vision control. They do have some wards that Risi was not able to find, but that Skarner with the Spire is so strong in that area, and this is where he shines the most.
Yeah, and it's crazy to see that the Skarner himself has a bounty. And Skarner's not even ahead in gold, at least not against his lane opponent. Well, lane opponent. He's down 1,600 gold, so it's just funny how Skarner has the lead he has.
In basketball, they say ball don't lie, but in League of Legends, the bounty don't lie. This Skarner is doing so much, even due to the gold deficit, because Warwick has all these skills. He's just providing so much for this team right now, but unfortunately, his Spire gets taken away. That's a lot of stats. Prepped for the Drake that is spawning in 20 seconds. Both teams posturing. The set has to teleport. He's using it right now, actually. Let's see if the play is made right now, because they're clearing out vision as well. Set with a lot of movement speed, but is not able to get into the fight right now. Dragon spawns here. That is a double fear going on right now. The set is taken down, but he's actually stunned right now. He's suppressed as well, stunned again, but the Hitmaker is finally able to come out. That is 3 kills already, and that Showstopper coming down onto the Warwick. Kaiser flashes away, trying to get away, but straight into the set she goes, as the set, with a sliver of margins of health, is able to go completely haywire onto the enemy team of Imagine Tempest right there.
Now, see, as a top laner myself, I know that set was spamming W that whole time, just hoping to get that damage off, and he did. And that is an easy Baron window for the side of Imagine Shadows.
There was a stun, a suppress, a stun, a root, but that W is able to come out, the E is able to come out, that huge shield, and so much damage coming out from Kill the Kiwi. He was the one focused down, but thankfully he was able to survive and tank up for the rest of the team as they were able to take down that entire fight. What a close fight it was. If that set fell down, I'm assuming that fight would have been a completely different story.
Yeah, and Imagine Shadow just, you know, once again, controlling the pace of the game. They are pushing their advantage at any moment they can. They are not taking the foot off the gas pedal.
Now with that one dragon taken, that is Hextech Soul denied. Imagine Shadow in the lead once again, especially after such a beautiful fight. That is 5-0 with a triple kill for Set, and his flash is even coming up. He didn't even use flash that fight.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Yeah, it was all his ult for a gap closer.
Yep, he grand slammed someone. I think it was the Veigar who was able to live through that assault. And Kaisa just basically delivered herself with the killer instinct straight into the set, and that's a very clean cleanup for the set.
Yeah, and if you're the side of Imagine Shadow, you're not looking to fight here. You're just looking to push side lanes, collect gold from these side outer towers, and maybe take another dragon, another Baron, and just end the game. Because it's probably not going to end the game off this Baron push unless something.
Oh. Skarner with a very spicy attempt to get this Veigar. Got very close to pressing that alt button, but was not able to get there. He was caged by the event horizon. The Leona was there with a Shield of Daybreak, making sure that there was no way the Skarner could get in without being CC'd. But the set on the other side of the map, on the bot side against this Poppy, who can't do too much, is able to take down the inhibitor turret alongside the buff of Baron.
And having this Baron buff for another minute and 20 seconds is going to be very difficult for the side of Imagine Tempest to deal with.
Yeah, with such an aggressive comp that Imagine Shadow has, you can expect an engage to happen at any time. From the Ashe, from the Skarner, from the Set, even from the Vex, they can just ult in at any point and just one-shot that Veigar, who's been one-shot many times before. It might happen again as another turret falls. The inhibitors are wide open, but Imagine Tempest standing their ground. Will it pay off for them as they are taking heavy damage from minions and etc. poke? That's half health on Veigar, half health on the Kaisa right now. As Kill the Kiwi looking for a play, gets the flash in, but gets stunned by her Event Horizon. Is able to do so much, but is shut down by that damage from the Veigar. That primordial burst, able to pick him down from half health and that shield. That is one set falling down, but for the price of 2 inhibitor turrets.
Yeah, I know that Set, once again, spamming W, hoping for that. That W goes off, that might just be the game right there. Very well could have been. But thankfully for the Warwick ult, the suppression was enough to prevent any further damage to their base. Of course, the 2 super minion waves are going to be annoying to deal with, but you have the wave clear with Kaisa and Warwick and Veigar to deal with it. So it's just going to be an influx of gold into the base and for your carries.
That Veigar with an amazingly placed stun, even through the flash, that Set was stunned on sight for around 2 seconds and just suppressed for the rest of it. There was nothing able to help him, not even the Lulu, which helped him so much in that last fight. He was able to just be brought down for the entire team. The Kaisa also doing so much damage, and of course the Warwick making sure that no one else on his team falls. So that is one more kill going over to Imagine Tempest, saving the game, but for how long? They do want this dragon, but Imagine Shadow is in control of it and will be for the next 35 seconds. Poppy is still in base. She does have the teleport, but how do they even get close to this Hextech dragon right now?
We focus in on vision around this dragon. There is all blue wards around the map, all of them out in shadow. We have one red ward that's now just been cleared out. There is not much Imagine Tempest can do around this Drake. They have no vision.
Yep, if they try to walk in, what are they going to do? They see the Set, they can't do much to Set. They see Vex, oh, maybe you can pick off Vex, but probably not. And Ashe and Lulu are always together. They have to give up this dragon as well. That's another time this Hextech Soul has been denied, and it's looking like it might actually go in Imagine Shadow's favor if this game goes long enough. Because you can't contest things with a squishy Kaisa, with a squishy Veigar, and a Poppy that can't get into the fight.
It's also been a death cap rush for Veigar number 2, so he has no survivability whatsoever. No Zanyas, anything to withstand the damage that will come out from this Set, this Vex, and this Ashe.
Wait a second here. Skarner actually forcing his own flash, but is not able to get a stun off or an ult. He is trapped inside the event horizon and taken down by the primordial burst. Senpai Omega, maybe that death cap is paying off for you. Well played, but there's also a push on the top side.
Yeah, I mean, this would be an even trade, I'd say, because they got a bounty onto their Veigar, which is great.
Give me a second here. That Leona with the solar flare is using that flash for that, but Kage also flashing away. That's a flash for flash. and things settle down from here.
Yeah, and I mean that was worth it itself because Ash without a flash is going to be very much easier to pick off without Lulu being there at least. But we shall see how this plays out. If you're the side of Imagine Shadows, you just want to keep these two super minion waves pushed out. You want to sync them up maybe. As the Baron is about to spawn, you use that pressure to rotate over to Baron, take the Baron quickly, and go for an end.
What a
But
wonderful game coming up from both sides of these teams. So many picks, none of them wavering, none of them going down without a fight, and all these fights are lopsided in one way or another. You never know how this could turn out. Set is actually surrounded by enemies. He might be able to walk out, though. I don't think they want to engage on him. They have no idea where the rest of his team are. They have hardly any vision past the river of the map, so they have to give that up.
it's kind of crazy. Set went his first 3 damage items and then went a Randuin's Omen for some defensive purposes for himself, And thinking about it, they are pretty much all AD for the exception of the Veigar.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, hopefully it's able to keep him alive for the rest of the fights because things have gotten very scary for Kill the Kiwi recently. He's gotten low so many times and he's actually been taken down a couple times before his Haymaker can come through. So hopefully that Randu is able to buy him a bit more time before he can pop off in these fights. But here it's the Baron start. The Warwick coming in, is able to get feared, and it's getting locked down by the Ashe ultimate, is able to escape the Ben's Horizon. There's so much damage right now, but the Vex is able to get caught out by Killer Instinct. That's Set with a Haymaker double kill right now, as Skarner pulls in the Kaisa away. Poppy, just barely late to the fight, is not able to do anything, and is getting chased down as well. That's a Predator, not even a Predator, he's just that fast with Turbo Chem Tank. That Skarner is catching down that Poppy. Set teleporting behind his Veigar. The flash will not matter. The barrier will not save you, my friend. That is a Haymaker coming straight to your face and a flash to follow that. It's only the Poppy left alive after teleporting late, after her friends have fallen, and after the game has been decided. Imagine Shadow doing so much right now, taking down the Poppy once again to secure this amazing victory over Imagine Tempest. What a beautiful fight.
And what a beautiful game. Once again, from Kill the Kiwi, just putting on a clinic in the top lane, as well as syncing up with his jungler a lot of the time, being on the same page with everyone on the rest of the team, amazing teleport plays, and just an overall clean game from the side of Imagine Shadow. Even when other lanes fell behind, they were able to play around their jungler, play around everybody else, to keep the team afloat and, soar in the mid game, because that's truly when everything took off. They played around objectives very well this game, or actually they didn't play around objectives very well, but they played around objectives very well in the mid game and were able to somehow claw their way back in.
It was a clean and decisive game from Imagine Shadow. They knew every single win condition they had in their disposal. Even at the end there, they knew the way to win was to take down this Warwick, so that Ashe ult comes out immediately, frame 1, as soon as they saw him coming, and made sure that Set did so much damage once his Haymaker came out for a double kill. Event Horizon was able to stop a lot of damage, but the Vex was able to do a lot her own, and the Poppy was not there for the fight, so the Imagine Shadow knew their opportunity, took it, and got away with the game.
Alright, so let's start with our ace this time rather than the MVP. So who would you give the ace to this game on the side of Imagine Tempest?
I've been giving Obil a lot of praise recently, but it is warranted. On his Trundle, even though that's an unrelated game, he did so well there. And on this Warwick as well, picking off so many players and getting an easy triple kill for himself, as long with the Dragon in that early game, saving their early game and transitioning to the mid game so well, and just making sure his teammates didn't fall too far behind.
I agree with you. I think him piloting the Warwick was quite amazing to watch. He was doing his best to keep his team afloat. He had some really great plays in the early game. Just as the mid game approached, it was just not too much that could be done. And switching over to the side of Imagine Shadow, who is your MVP?
For this one, I would probably give it to the Skarner, because he did so much this game. Yes, Set did a lot. Yes, Set was the hero in the fights, but the Skarner was the hero of the game, making those plays mid, making sure that Veigar was effectively useless for the entire game, and making sure this Poppy could not do anything other than starve. He just did so much with so much pressure on the map. He did give up very many dragons, but that was just to some unlucky fights, and he paid up for them in spades because he got so many picks this game.
From an analytical perspective, you're probably right. But see, my bias is going to show here, and I'm going to give it to Set once again because the Set it was such a clinic put on in the top lane. And while that may have been an effort as to pressure put on by other lanes to allow him to play as aggressively as he did, he was up 50 to like 13 at 8 minutes in the game, CS wise. It was quite crazy the amount of pressure that the Set had in this lane, and I don't think Imagine Shadow would be able to make it out of this game as effortlessly as they did without the Set's performance. So
Yeah,
personally, for me, it's the Set.
He did so much that game, getting an easy first blood against this Poppy and getting such a lead and transitioning that into the mid game, especially with that bot lane TP, where he's able to force out the Kai'Sa and Leona's flash and even just kill them both despite all that. He's been doing so much work, so your opinion is very well warranted. But I believe everyone in Imagine Shadows team played perfectly. Well, macro-wise, because their Ashe and Lulu in the bot lane was one of the smartest decisions I've seen. Even though they won the previous game on offensive matchup with the Nautilus and Caitlyn, they switched over to putting the Skarner on the top and middle side and just making sure Set and Vex get ahead, while the Ashe and Lulu just sit back slowly, avoid all the engages from Leona and the Kai'Sa, because they're able to avoid so many solar flare deaths with the Lulu, and they're just able to transition that because the Lulu is able to speed up the Set, make sure the Set does not die, and they played perfectly, especially with the arrow at the end.
This is true. They played to their composition very well. But that was an amazing 2 games they were able to cast. And now, of course, we have another set of 2 games coming right up. But we will head over to a break, switch casters, and do the Storm Riders versus Orange Forge Academy games now.
Congratulations to Imagine Shadow.